Hello.
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 Welcome to the recording in progress.
Indeed.
I love that lady. She's always right on it. She's like, recording in progress right now.
Yeah.
Get on this.
Dad.
What are you guys doing?
For those of you who don't know, that's the Zoom lady. We are
Zoom
still
lady.
on Zoom. So we did start in the pandemic. We figured we'd keep that theme rolling, you know.
It's nice.
At this point now it's old school. But,
It's a little bit of the familiar in this uncharted territory we find ourselves in.
Yeah, something from a time not so long past we can cleave to as we're in this new world of less disease.
Less recorded disease.
Less, some.
Exactly. But welcome everyone to Always Strikes Last. I'm Miles. I'm joined by Matt and Jack as usual. This is an Age of Sigmar podcast where we talk about Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And we're joined today by Andy of Mediocre Hobbies. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you very much.
And we're also joined by Ken, who is captain of Team Ireland.
Evening, afternoon, wherever you're at.
Welcome, guys. Welcome. Yeah, we are a
welcome.
pan time zone podcast here, so many places, many times.
I feel like at this point with that intro, they're wondering what he's the captain of in Ireland. He's like,
Yeah, exactly.
he's the captain of Ireland.
Captain of Ireland. Yeah,
He's just the captain of Ireland.
Yeah, shield.
coast to coast.
Walking down the street, captain.
Captain.
He will sail the island wherever it wishes to go.
Somewhere warmer.
So for today, we were going to talk about an upcoming event that's happening. It will be real close to when we release this, but coming up in the next few weeks as of recording, which is Age of Sigmar Six Nations.
Yes, indeed.
So pretty exciting team format event for the what was it, the four British countries and Ireland and Sweden, right?
That's right, yeah. It used to be
How'd you
France a long time ago, but that was a different game and a different...
Yeah,
Different. It was a different time.
it was
So-
a different time.
Different
So-
It was
age.
in a world before, or whatever it's called, right?
Yeah. What are the official Six Nations? Let's just list them out so they, the different contingents out there and get a really good mental census. Of course, it's Ireland, right?
Right.
There's
So we're
Ireland,
talking-
there's Northern Ireland, so it keeps everyone
Mhm.
happy. There's Wales, Scotland, Sweden. Have I forgotten anyone? England?
England. There we go.
Forgot England.
Oh, yeah.
They're the underdogs this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
So I gotta
it's,
ask, how'd you rope Sweden into it? Seems like everything else is in this nice concentric islandish area, and then you got Sweden.
Yeah. So I guess to inform the listeners in America, the Six Nations, it kind of comes from the rugby. It's like the American football, but without the helmets. So
Mhm.
since the dawn of time, that used to be the Five Nations. So it used to be England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. So it used to just be four, and then they added France to make it five, and then they added Italy to make it six.
okay.
So because we have the Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland thing, we want to keep that the way it is.
Okay.
So we only needed to have one extra nation. So in the world it was France that was involved because it matched with the rugby. And then Warhammer disappeared and Age of Sigmar came about. And I
Gotcha.
think
So
it was,
change there.
I think it was to do with in France, Age of Sigmar wasn't very big. And ironically now they're probably like the second best nation. So
Oh wow.
they
Whenever
caught
I'm
up
on
fast.
Twitch and France is streaming their games, there's like 1,000 people watching them every time. It's insane. They're definitely like the biggest Warhammer Twitch people that exist. It's so insane. And another, to come back to the question about why Sweden, the Swedes have always had a really, really big Warhammer following, like bigger than all the other kind of like random European countries, bigger than Germany and bigger than Italy and they're huge. Everybody plays it. So I guess they would jump on the opportunity with the amount of players that they have to get involved.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense too. I was thinking without that context, it was based upon the historical Viking fascination with Ireland and England, but that would be a different way to go about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we could rope them in with just that.
That's excellent
But
though.
it's-
Is there ever going to be a 7 nation invite extend back to France? You guys think, or did I just break the thing?
Oh my goodness.
We thought about it this year actually, and the one thing that we came up with as a problem is if you have an odd number, somebody doesn't play in that round.
Oh
So you have to go
yeah.
from 6 to 8, right?
Yeah.
Mhm,
And then if you
mhm.
go to 8, the way it currently works is there's 5 rounds and everyone plays everybody once, so you don't miss out on playing any other team, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
So if you go to 8 nations, you either play 7 games, or there's 1 or 2 nations that you won't play based on your rankings in Swiss instead.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's gonna break some
It
balls.
just makes it more complicated, and it means you need a bigger venue and you need more scenery. And
Mhm.
as you
We
get
did
bigger,
have, I've been poorly running the Six Nations Twitter account or X account for a little while now, and the number of people asking for 7 nations was astonishing. But the
I think,
lineup
like,
was going.
I think if we said we go to 8, I think we'd get it quite
Yeah.
quickly. Get Denmark and France like that.
Boom.
But
Yeah,
it's a big uptick in extra resources to actually host
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but as
that seems
AOS
reasonable.
gets bigger and Worlds gets bigger, then hopefully Six Nations gets bigger. And
Yeah. Well, also, you know,
Like,
I encouraged everyone to go look at the countries immediately surrounding them and make their own Six Nations with blackjack and hookers, and you know,
Of
like
course.
please, more team events. Just do it. Go host one.
I think I've seen on the Discord there's certainly, or on the Twitter there, X, like North America could easily have one. You could have America, Canada, maybe. I don't know. Do they play?
Sure. I
Like,
mean, you
2
could
nations.
subdivide both of those countries and have regional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could just do U.S. regional blocks, the
Yeah.
nations, be like the Northeast or the South or the West Coast. It'd be kind of fun.
Hey, a good way to pick your
Texas
team, actually.
conference.
You took then 2 players from each conference,
Yeah.
Ooh.
AFC,
That could be
NFC.
interesting.
Oh, that's getting some good ideas here.
See, this
Well, I
is why
do-
he's the captain.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Well, I do hope that all of the like
for
the
dancing.
the popularity of this has got to spawn and the other Six Nations rival European tournament. But this is going to be really interesting to hear how you guys are going about this one, because obviously everyone has sort of an awareness of it as a huge teams event with some historical kind of precedents. And, you know, I think a lot of people out in our listener base will get to hear a bit more about it, you know, because they've heard tons about Worlds, but this is kind of like the other one that pops up on people's radar, I think.
It is definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, go for it, Andy.
sorry, go on.
Why didn't you say
Yeah, I was
anything?
going to say that's one of the reasons why we want to get Andy on board and to stream the event, because we want to build up Six Nations to be not maybe the same level as Worlds, but definitely to raise the profile, get people more interested, get them behind their nations. Again, it may then encourage other nations to want to join or set up their own league or whatever. So we
Yeah, I
just
mean,
want to
that's
make it bigger each year.
Yeah.
That is the thing, is that the idea of the eyes on, the idea of people might never have experienced an event like this before. So being able to engage with it easily enough with a streaming service and stuff, maybe because they won't realize that this thing will be on for 2 full days. Like they'll be able to literally log on, then they can go out with their dinner, come back, and they're like, this event is still going on. So they're going to keep kind of popping in and out of it. And so they get more engaged and more excited. And then if they look up how to take part or get involved, then that might lead to them maybe setting up themselves. Or so it's exciting. A lot of people find it hard to find games and places. So setting up stuff like this is going to be a huge help for them.
Yeah. Very good community building opportunities there.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I've really tried to make this Six Nations. It's a full team effort. Like, it's not just a TO running it or the captain running it. It's everybody who's involved in the team and everybody in Ireland who's even not on the team that just likes Warhammer. We're trying to get everyone involved. There's people 3D printing terrain for us that are on the team but are still helping out. There's people refereeing. There's going to be people streaming. There's people commentating. Just on that, I don't know, have you announced it yet, Andy? Your co-commentator for the event?
No, I haven't.
So fingers crossed, and I think it's already been sorted by Mick. We're going to be having Mark Wildman as our co-commentator with Andy. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but the original Warhammer podcast was the Bad Dice podcast back in the was. So it used to be himself and Ben Curry and Ben Johnson. They used to run the biggest Warhammer podcast. Then Age of Sigmar came along. They
Mhm.
kept it up for a while. Then Ben Johnson, obviously, started working for Games Workshop, wasn't able to continue doing the podcast. So the two lads and Mark's husband, they kept it going on for a bit longer. But I guess as Ben Curry, I think real life, his job, his business got bigger and bigger, and he's kind of dropped off the AO scene a bit. But they still run the Blood and Glory tournaments over there. Mark's still involved in the competitive scene. He still knows lots about AOS. He's good fun. He'll be a great addition to the team.
Yeah, I did have my first call with him there 2 or 3 days ago. So we've had the initial kind of call about what we want to do and how we want to move forward with the streaming and stuff like that, and commentation side of things. So he seems to know what he's talking about, and he's definitely going to be awesome for the event. So very excited to have someone there as kind of competent and kind of up to date with Age of Sigmar as him to help me navigate the minefield that is competitive Age of Sigmar.
That's awesome. Well, we can probably reveal now, but there was a hot minute a couple weeks ago where it was looking like we might actually swap a team member to have me help you out on the commentary. So I'm glad we found someone really good, because they were saying Ken was saying that you were still shopping around.
It wasn't
Yeah,
me
we tried
shopping.
a few people couldn't make it at the last minute, and like even Noah Singh, you were saying, might have been popping in the area at the time.
Oh,
but
no, it would have
we'll
been
see.
great. Yeah.
So I mean, maybe he'll still pop in. I don't know. I don't think if he's in the area at the time or not. But anyone who's in the area is more than welcome to pop in and have a look. So just so people are aware that it's on in the Brighton Court Hotel in Balbriggan, which is North County Dublin.
It's really
It's like
easy
a
to get
seaside town.
to from the airport.
Just
like
Yeah, you can just jump on a taxi, or from the city centre you can jump on the dart, and it takes you all the way out to Balbriggan. So it's 20-minute dart journey from the city centre. It's a nice little beachside town, but you're still in Dublin, so
It's fair. So
for that.
it should be fun.
I'll definitely
that
try to swing
delightful-
by. But if anyone talks to my wife, there was a really long line getting milk at the store that day.
It's just a short flight across the big pond, right?
Just as long as you come back, right?
Yeah, it's always that, Sorry, I got turned around. This checkout line's weird. Puts me on a plane.
Self checkout. Oh, assistant required. Oh, they didn't come for ages. Yeah.
The venue does sound pretty cool, though. So it's pretty easy to get to from Dublin Airport, north side, right? What's it kind of like? Any cool amenities or special features that people should be looking forward to, or how would the mind's
in
eye?
Balbriggan.
Yeah, Balbriggan.
There's a harbour. There's restaurants. There's a walk along a cliff beach area. It's a typical seaside town that's outside Dublin, so it has a Dublin feel, but you're not in the big city. You're in what do they call them? Satellite.
Those satellite towns,
Yeah.
bedroom communities.
There we go.
Thing. Yeah.
For that lovely November beach walk along the Irish Sea.
That's what I was saying. I was like,
Yeah,
don't oversell it, Ken. Don't oversell.
It's not gonna be cold. It's Ireland.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It just
Only
made
the
rain
most
the entire time.
hardcore. I would say only the
Layers.
most hardcore will be sea swimming.
People do it, man. They go out there every day and get in that cold water. I don't know what's wrong with them.
Wild.
I used to, when I was a teenager up north, I lived on the north coast in Port Stewart. It's right at the very top. And we used to go on the day after Christmas. We would always go in for a swim.
Nice.
And
The
that was
polar
really fun.
plunges, nice.
Yeah. They do that here on Christmas morning in Dublin. They go Christmas morning out in for a sea swim. I'm like, much better things to do on Christmas morning than jumping in the freezing cold sea. What is wrong with you people?
I feel like
I
that
think we
would
did
wake you up
Boxing
for
Day,
the
sorry.
entire coming year.
Yeah.
Like,
Coffee. No, thanks. I went for a sea swim on Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my healthy activity in. Another
Okay.
365.
Yeah.
So Ken, this is the first time Ireland's ever hosted Six Nations, and as the hosting captain, what are your hopes for the event and for the team?
Well, my hopes for the event I really want the event to be successful. I want to showcase Ireland as a great place for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Like we want to run events in the future, maybe to bring people in, not just the people of Ireland, but to bring people from abroad, because we want to travel to events in the UK and maybe Denmark and other places, but we also want people to come here. So we want to be able to put on a good show. We want people to enjoy themselves, number one. We don't want to be super sticklers for the rules and docking people points for painting scores or stuff like that. We want to be fair. We want to play fair, hard Warhammer in a really fun environment. That's my number one goal.
Nice.
The other goal is I want to have it on. I want us to play the game on tables that have functional scenery that actually interact with the game, rather than just be that's arcane and everything else doesn't matter and nothing does it. So I'm trying my best to try and get as much scenery done as possible and have it on basis so that it either blocks movement if it's impassable, or if you can get inside it, it counts as cover and grants all the different terrain types that you have: arcane, mystical, deadly, damned.
Well, that makes sense.
Will always be the same, so that everyone knows straight away what's on their side of the table. And you've seen we've already done the map, so people have been playing the game, so they know the setups for the maps. They know that if Arcane's on, you've got the swamp on your side of the board, so there's a plus and a minus. That's why I have to set up every map. Every map is different for each scenario. It's all in the rule.
Let me ask a few questions on that, Ken, just because I think it's a pretty interesting thing. As you said, that the default of a piece of mystical floating around or otherwise non-engaging isn't the way to go. Are these terrain maps you guys are using like asymmetrical? Are they symmetrical? Is it basically 2 garrisons, 2 impassables, 2 wildwoods, or how are you guys kind of going about it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. There are 2 garrisons, and they'll usually be opposite ends. The map is like a mirror, but it's flipped 180 as well, if you know what I mean.
Yep,
so it's bottom left, top right, most of the time. So you'll have 2 garrisons, 2 impassables that'll be. So the 2 garrisons give you the +1 and -1 leadership if you're in those. The arcane and mystical will be impassable. Then there's 2 forests that we're using the AOS Wars terrain rules that it blocks sight for 1 inch rather than 3 inches. And then swamps will be deadly and a ruin will be damned. So a ruin will be a wall and it'll have a footprint and you can get in. And the swamp will just be this boggy
area terrain.
Area terrain. So if you walk in the swamp, it's deadly, and you're going to have to take a difficult terrain test, and you might take some more wounds.
I like that.
Yeah, I like the reliability of that. Like, you don't have to roll dice, you don't have to check it, you don't have to be worried about looking at icons on dices and remembering what that icon means if somebody bought that. That's great.
Certain sensibility to it.
The other reason we did it was because we have 3 games on the Saturday, and it's like starts at 9 a.m. and finishes at 8 p.m. It's a long day. We tried to keep the rounds as short as possible, so there's 3 hours game time, and there's only 15 minutes for the pairings process, which we can maybe go into after. And so we don't want people wasting 15 minutes of their 30 minutes or their 3 hours just setting up the terrain, rolling for dice, deciding blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows I'm playing scenario 3 on this. So this is map 3. They set the map up straight away. They know what's what, and they don't have to roll for anything. And it saves 20 minutes.
I think that's a really good point.
It's functional and it's actually useful.
Yeah.
Matt and I were just because Matt is setting up some YouTube timers to for people to play in the back of their in the back of their tournament as the round timer and stuff like that, and having some helpful prompts about what you should be doing at this moment. And he and I were
you should be finished deploying by now or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe you should start round 2. Think about that. But he and I were hemming and hawing about, well, do you really need 8 minutes to set terrain up? Like, do you really need and yes, you do. It takes a lot of time. If you're going to do those things, they take time. They take a lot of time.
It's funny with that, though. I mean, in getting that particular resource ready for people to kind of practice in the world of keeping themselves to a good clip. I mean, that's a good chunk of time that something like what you guys are doing, you can totally avoid. With a set map, that time is back for whatever else is needed. And a little more breathing room is welcome, I think, in tournament environments.
Well, and the other thing is it hopefully makes the terrain have an impact, because a lot of times you'll take the 8 minutes to set up this map, roll all these dice for the terrain effects, and you go, okay, is there any arcane? That one? Okay, that's all I'm going to care about for this game. So you spent 8 minutes, but you could have just rolled one dice and said that one's an arcane.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I'm hoping people find it engaging. I've tried to keep the line of the impassable pieces away from each other so that people can't block off areas of the map as well. Because there's a lot of people who can be gamey with things like that. So I've tried to limit that as much as possible.
Plus, a little bit less to think about when it's a tournament. Like had the idea about people being gamey is kind of the point of certain rounds of the tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'd rather it all be about the tactics rather than you couldn't physically play the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they place their scenery terrain piece and make like a 2-inch corridor to reach them or whatever.
Yeah, I mean you can still do that up to a point, but it could be worse if the maps were wrong. So you do have to put a bit of effort into all the maps.
100%. Here's looking at you, OCR Bone Reapers, with your giant shrine.
Giant stupid thing.
Well,
I found that a lot of players
like
actually, the OCR Bone Reaper players, they actually don't want to put their scenery piece on the thing because it gets in the way sometimes.
That's true for sure.
Yeah. I like the reduction of the all the randomness too, because no matter where you go, you're still going to have the same terrain effects. You're not going to have to deal with all of a sudden somebody rolled hot. There's 4 different arcanes down for that one Lumineth army that you're just like, okay, well, halfway good game already, right? That feels like it encourages more, like you were just saying, competitive tactics than just being like, okay, what's the most advantageous thing I can do before I actually even set my models down?
Yeah,
which I
always saw that
back and forth. It's kind of
yeah.
The reverse being true as well. The idea that people can't complain about it afterwards. Oh, that game didn't go well because the stupid scenery got this. I'm like, no, you all have even scenery. You know exactly what it is. It's up to you, buddy. So,
yeah, you got to practice with it. In fact,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that's like great. We got our own little StarCraft maps, right? And these are the tournament tournament StarCraft maps.
It's definitely a good start to the whole thing. So I guess into the event itself and the lists and all that kind of stuff, how should we proceed here? I mean, how should we think about this?
Well, I was saying earlier about the pairings process. Are you guys familiar with? I know Miles is familiar because he was at Worlds with us this year, but the rest of you guys know how it works.
Familiar, but not as viscerally familiar as Miles is from his many runs with it.
I mean, I don't want to bore your audience, but basically, each round. So in 6 nations, because there's 5 different nations in 5 rounds, you're going to play each. You're going to play each nation once, and it doesn't really matter in what order you play them because it's just going to be your total score at the end. So, you'd like to hope that the 2 teams that are at the top play each other in the last round. That make it exciting, but there's a good chance they could be playing 2 different nations, and then it's about those other 2 nations can be the kingmaker then, where they can say, "We're going to try and take points."
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not like a pairing to the top. It's more like, hey, you play your rounds, and then you might just be kind of down to the wire with points, trying to get them from the other sort of 3rd or 4th place nation in the last bit.
It's more of a round robin type situation where you're like, okay, I got my 3 points for this, and though they need to beat them by this much in order to.
Remembering that everybody has to play everybody else. So if you play the 2 top players ended up playing each other in the first round, then they can't possibly play each other in the last round, even. You know what I mean? So it's quite random. But I think it's a better way to do it. Playing everybody instead of they're the 2 top teams, they're gonna play each other again. Like, same pairings. We hope same game, same.
It's kind of an interesting setup. So I guess with that in mind, when you guys are going into the tournament, knowing that none of the secrets that are revealed here will come up in time to change anything for list making, do you guys have a particular mentality or strategy going into this, with how you think the other nations will be building their approaches to the event, or places you think you might be able to pick up a lot of points to,
well,
take this one for Ireland?
We have our head coach, John, who's not playing this year. He's just had a kid, so he's been a bit short in game time lately. So he's our stats guy, and he'll be doing the pairings, and I'll be sitting there putting cards down. He's been looking at the other.
Totally fair. So tragic the way creating a miniature takes away from miniatures time, but such is life.
he's been checking up on all of the other players that are on the other nations, seeing what they've been playing in tournaments lately. So we kind of know from chatting and just working things out. We kind of know what Team Northern Ireland are probably going to be playing and who's on the team and what armies they're going to be on.
Nice.
Team Sweden were kind of really in the dark because we don't know most of their players and we don't see most of their results. If they're not on BCP, it's harder to find. Just it depends how they run their events. Scotland have gone very quiet. I think Scotland are mostly in it for the fun, so they're not taking it seriously. Obviously, Team Wales are taking it as seriously as Team England. Then the other side of it is Team England's team is not the world's team. They send two separate teams.
So that's interesting. Is that like a self-imposed lack of overlap, or is there some overlap?
No, I think in fairness, and it's a good if you have a bigger player pool, I can understand what they're doing is that they're taking experienced players, but then they want to blood some new players, get them experience of Team Warhammer, and so obviously they have more than 16 players that they could easily take, right? So they're not taking necessarily the same 8. Now, if these guys do really well, some of these people might be on World's team, but some might not. So it's not like they're sending their B team; they're sending some of their A team and some newer players to get experience because they have that luxury of a bigger player pool than the rest of us.
They have kind of a couple of A teams in the wings, so just pick like the A- or the alternative one. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got some intel then, guys.
So with some intel, we know, for example, like Freddie Leggett, who was on Team Northern Ireland for Wales because they were a short player. He's now on Team England. He's been playing Blades of Corn, so we sort of know what list he's going to take. There's another player that we know has been playing the Shark list a lot of tournaments. Now, we don't know if they'll actually take it or not. But that new shooting battalion that the Sharks got with the two
the Oops All Sharks. It's like 12 Sharks, is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's what it's called in the book.
Matt, it's a very Matt Davison list. Let me just throw that out there. You love this.
Yeah.
It must have completely slipped under my radar.
I'll send it to you after the show.
Do to
it. Yeah, I can reveal I'm playing Big Wah.
No, really? Yes.
Miles has been our most inconsistent faction, I'd say, so far. Do you want to go through your faction history there, Miles?
Oh my god! Well, so I picked up Nurgle for Worlds, and then after Worlds, you were saying, "Hey, everybody, try something else. Try to get some coverage on other armies, so we have a sense of what they're doing." So I played Bone Reapers for a bit. It looked like we had some other coverage because JT was playing that, and so I jumped to KO. We liked KO, but we didn't think that they were what we wanted on the team because they have the chance of catastrophically failing. Right? They have a real strong catastrophic failure situation if a boat gets tagged in exactly the wrong way, it's lights out, and that's no good. And also their wins were not big wins.
Yep. I was personal witness to many of the struggles Miles had with the KO.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite move against Miles is tagging that boat in that right way.
And everybody knows that. Everybody knows this trick. It's like it's that one weird trick that all doctors hate or whatever.
It's on the BuzzFeed. That's how they know about it.
And then we were thinking maybe OBR again. I wasn't vibing with it, and so we were looking at what else was around. And Big Wah has been getting some good traction in the stats recently, and there's a nice build that's got strong anti-magic, and it's a nice meat and potatoes type of army where you've got infantry, you're fighting a tactical fight with screens and punchy units and anvils and wizards, and like you're trying to participate in all phases. So it's just a nice little all-comer.
And you've got Jim Carrey as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for the last month-ish now, I've been trying not to post pictures of orcs on Twitter. Although it's very difficult.
Yeah, I mean that's all I've seen.
Well,
course,
I
that's
post stuff
in-
in our Discord where none of the Team England guys are gonna see stuff in our Discord.
Unless they pay
That's perfectly
$2.
safe.
If they were to pay $2, they could potentially infiltrate.
Exactly, they could be a Patreon member, but it's probably Charles. He was our most recent Patreon member, so it's probably he's a spy for Team England. That's
Makes
I wouldn't
sense.
put it past him.
Charles is a very English name, so
Yeah.
the suspicion is heightened.
It
Is
is
it the
funny
king-
that you
the
guys
king
mentioned that
finals?
because as you were describing the idea of like trying to figure out what other armies people are playing with, I was like, why don't you just go onto everyone's Instagram and see what they're posting up, and then that's what
no,
you guys
exactly.
do. You go, sir, it's like corporate espionage, trying to get all the information and stuff. Like you could literally hire people to, you just follow Team Ireland, go like all their accounts, go engage with them, chat to them a bit. Maybe they'll reveal a few secrets to you, and then it'd be so funny.
Exactly.
Oh, do you want to see my list? No, we have it already, Paul. We have everybody's list. Oh.
The next level of that would be pretty funny, wouldn't it, Andy? Like, just paying the flight and tournament registration for some random player to go to all the tournaments they play in, and then just be like, all right, just write down what their lists are.
Yep.
That's the bigger metagame that's going on.
Yeah. I mean, the
That's
big
the worst thing
dollars in
about
AOS.
BCT is they lock out your list. You have to pay the subscription to see the list.
Yeah, it was $70 or something for subscription every year. It
That's
gets
how
me
they
every
get me.
time.
They get me every year, but one of these days
Yeah.
I'll give up.
I forget right up until I get the charge.
Always the way.
Like, what is? Oh yeah, I guess I should look at some of those lists.
Well, now there's the split where lots of the English events are on stats and ladders now, which is just another whole fun nightmare to go figure out what's going on in there.
Joy.
I actually think it's a better system.
Yeah, no, it's definitely got its merits. It's just it's two places. I need it to be in one place, like
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I only have 3 hamster wheels. Like I can't have them all spinning at once.
Exactly.
That's fair. I just want them all unified in the back end. Like, I think it's kind of fun when you can just get your stats from your tournaments, like pegged into the global leaderboard and see how it's doing, kind of like a chess rating. So I don't want there to
Here's
be
a crazy
too much to
idea.
this.
What if you put your list into the Warhammer app, and then the Warhammer app could run tournaments, and
Oh
they
my
just get
gosh.
all of the data.
Don't tell GW.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
tell
know.
GW and wait for about 10 years. That's
Yeah, they'll get it to us by 6th edition.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
it'll
I'm all
run
for
a
it.
tournament. Maybe not
I'm
the one
all
we're trying to
for
play.
I wanted to check Andy. So you run a pretty awesome YouTube channel, Mediocre Hobbies, and you are going to be streaming the event. So what is your hope for the coverage, and like what are your thoughts on how people can check out Six Nations?
Yeah, so it will be streamed on my Twitch channel, so Mediocre Hobbies. You go check it out there, and it will be streaming for the entire event. We'll be streaming every game, so 5 games. And God, my hopes are that obviously this is the first time I've ever streamed an event like this, streamed gaming. I stream every week on Twitch for myself and do some painting and stuff like that, obviously, and make videos, but streaming a game is definitely a new thing. So a lot of new equipment has been bought, lots of new stuff has been figured out. So my main goal is that it runs smoothly and it works. That's the tippity top of it. Just God, please work.
Sometimes the bar is low. It's okay.
Yeah, well, there's a first bar. There's lots of different bars to go through, but like it's all that order of priority or whatever. So that's the most important one. Make sure it runs smoothly. People can go onto Twitch, click a button, and see some awesome coverage of Six Nations and get a sense of what the event was like, what the players were like, what the armies were like, and how the event kind of pairs off and works. And then after that, just try and give as awesome coverage as possible. Me and co-hosts will be hopefully doing some fairly decent work commentating the event, and basically just trying to enjoy ourselves. I'm obviously in 2 minds. There's 2 hosts, obviously, and my co-host will definitely be more of the technical side of things, and I'm going to try and stay more the casual side of things, because I don't want people to come in and be like, oh, I'll check out what the Six Nations is, and then be bombarded by technical jargon, and then immediately be like, I don't know what's going on here, and this is real confusing, and this is real. So hopefully I can keep like a light and casual side to it, where he keeps a serious side to it, so that when anybody jumps in, they can feel kind of involved, they can get involved with chat and ask some cool questions, and kind of hopefully enjoy themselves. So
you get a little good cop, bad cop situation going on.
yeah, I'm definitely the good cop, and He's definitely the bad cop, I think.
I like that approach. Keeps it from being too impenetrable, just like a stream of like, you must have already read the book 4 times and know what I'm talking about, kind of terminologies.
I definitely think that's the thing that people need to be aware of, and like people in like us in the creative space. I think it's a really important thing to be aware of, is you can make it like, although you think you're helping, if you are suddenly using lots of acronyms and describing loads of weird techniques and stuff, and you're like, I don't know what any of this means. So trying to say
the corn players just use the Sicilian gambit, right?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
yes, of course.
Yeah, I feel like too easily you can strand a golf talk sound almost, even just like describing everything.
Yeah,
I do have a recommendation. I don't know if this flies, and it may throw a spanner, but what if you got a soundboard so you can have like the burn, 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 burn noise?
Whoa,
double sixes, burn, 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 burn. If you're gonna play good cop, you can go all the way into soundboard.
There could be some play here. I mean, even like a wah wah for like just something on the board that may not have been the right move.
Rolled a 3-inch charge.
But then you like the opposite of that is if that guy has like 50 of his friends watching at home, and like everything is on the line, everyone is super excited, from then he fails, and it's like, oh, what a dick. He pressed it, not me. Blame the co-host.
If I know friends, they would love that.
Yeah.
Get that guy trouble forever.
I think there's obviously seeing your friend succeed is wonderful, but seeing your friend fail can also be incredibly wonderful as well.
Yeah.
Someone
say 40K event next week. Maybe he should try that.
So you said you're streaming one table per round, right?
Yeah.
What's going to be? How's the calculus of who's going to get streamed?
So obviously it's considered to be the top table, so it should be the 2 teams on the most points. That'll be what we'll be streaming. And the way I've decided, and hopefully it'll work out, is I'll literally just approach both teams at the pairing and be like, okay, you guys have finished pairing. What do you think will be the most exciting game for the people at home to view? Because obviously they will know that, okay, that game, he threw a player under the bus, so he could get some more points here. So that game is going to be over in 2 turns, so that's going to be boring. Whereas this game is going to be real hard fought, and it's going to be long, and it's going to go for the 4 or 5 rounds and be exciting to watch. So hopefully there'll be enough experience in the captains that they'll be like, yeah, I think you should put those 2 guys up. And then, but then also there's the asking those 2 guys, are you happy enough to be on stream? So they might be like, no, thank you. So
it is, it can be, especially, I remember Matt and we used to stream with Ricky and Matt Beasley, and just the being on the stream. And fortunately, these guys don't have to also commentate their own game as it's going, right? Because when you're just doing a Twitch stream of a live game, you're an announcer, you're playing the game, and it's so easy to just completely forget how this game works.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I did consider at one stage putting lapel mics on them and being able to hear the players talk, but most people said that was a bad idea.
You would 95% have gotten a bathroom break.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to remember to take that headset off.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was thinking that what I think we do is captains, we all have a matrix, we all have a spreadsheet where we've ranked each other's teams and said, this is a good matchup, this is a bad matchup. So ideally what we'll do is, obviously there'll be, each nation will get streamed once, and maybe 1 or 2 will get streamed twice, but we want to make sure that every nation
gets streamed at least
round
once.
1. If it's Ireland versus England, we might be the stream. Next round it could be Scotland versus Wales, and so on. And what I think I'm going to suggest to the other captains is, you look at your matrix. If it's a green or a black, if it's going to be 20-0 one way to the other, you're not streaming that. Ideally, you want to pick a match that you think is going to be close, but could swing one way or the other at a key time. Like there's some matchups where you'll say, I'll win that 12-8 every day, and that's just going to be a small win, and that might not be that interesting either. Whereas if you've got a match where you go, I can win this 13-7, or I can lose this 20-0, right? Something goes wrong. Those would be the ideal games to stream, where you have a bit of excitement and there's a bit of risk reward or whatever.
Sure. Because it's in everyone's best interest to have the most exciting game on the stream, right? It's not like there's a we're all on that same team effectively.
Yeah.
For example, I'm playing Corn, and I think it's pretty much agreed that if Corn plays Zinch, Corn will pretty much smash Zinch. So you wouldn't stream that if that was a pairing. So
That'd be a
there'll be
disaster.
certain things that we'll be looking for, and there's certain armies that might not make good streaming. As an example, OBR, I don't think it's a great stream.
Yeah,
Giants
it's a bit of a
make a
slog,
great
yeah.
stream.
Yeah.
People get bored
Mm.
watching Giants because they were everywhere.
So it's
a
really
mixture
you're
of-
looking at allegiance level and book level as opposed to like list level on them, or just in general, like corn first.
No,
slash-
for me, the idea of I don't know fully, but the idea of like certain armies aren't good to stream. I don't know how true that will translate to Twitch, because like I said, I hopefully there will be a lot more people than there'll be a lot more casual people hopefully showing up to view it. So they'll just be nice to see cool armies, big impressive pieces, and I think Giants are definitely something awesome to see. But like I said, a giant army could come on and kick a piece of scenery halfway across the board and end the game in 2 turns, and then you're game over. So, and then it's like, okay, guys, the next game will start to be streaming 2.5 hours.
2 hours from now.
Yeah. No, I agree
Okay.
with Ken though. Like OBR is basically just watching up. OBR would be the golf talk version, right? And just be like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, we're in combat. Okay, we're still in combat. Okay, they're
Yes.
back.
Uh-oh, they rolled a 1. No, they didn't. Never mind.
It would be
The other
especially
thing
good,
is
though.
that I think is important is that you want the best looking armies on the stream as well.
That's
Mm,
true.
yeah.
So if we get a pairing and when we look around and goes, those are the 2 nicest looking armies on this row, and they look fantastic, and they're a good advertisement for the game itself, that would be a factor as well. Like there's a good few things, and again, it's the temperament of the players and maybe the standing of the player as well. Like if there's a certain player that we know is really good and they've been paired into someone else who's really good, you're probably guaranteed a good game. So there's many factors.
So we're
And
all in
it-
agreement.
it
Mick is
decides
not on
very
stream.
quickly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're calling it right now. Mick's not on stream.
The Mick not on stream. We just all agreed on that. Okay. A player of good standing. Oh, Mick's out. Okay.
He'll 100% be nagging me to be on stream as well. By the way,
Of course he will.
Oh yeah, of course. No, he needs the ego boost. It's
Yeah.
the best.
Oh God.
No, he's good. It'll be great.
Well, I'm looking forward to checking it out, and I love that idea that some different matches might be fun for the casual scene coming on in, much more so than the competitive. Like I can imagine if it was the first time I was engaging with AOS and I was watching a bunch of cool looking giants being swarmed by goblins, feel way different opposed to watch it like right now myself.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that has a god piece in their army or a greater demon, or, those sort of things are all automatically going to look cool. So if you've got Alariel or you've got Marathi or you've got Archeon or Nagash or whatever, they make good TV, right?
They do make good TV. They're good to announce over, man. Look at that beast coming across the table here, flipping scenery and wrecking. I love it. It's what you want.
Mhm.
Not those 12 discs move forward again. Okay. Woo.
It's another unit of flesh hounds.
Oh yeah. How many Varangard?
My
Oh,
flesh
same
hounds.
as every other.
There you-
Yeah.
Ooh, more zombies.
Like, in a stunning update, it seems that the Blood Crushers are still pinning the army in the back of the field.
Yeah.
No, that's very exciting. And like Ken said, we are just printing out terrain and goodie bags and swag. I think we're getting jerseys coming in hot and off the press here pretty soon. So
Nice.
everything's ramping.
And we found an interesting tidbit of knowledge that may be slightly confusing for the objective markers there earlier, right before we started here.
Oh yeah.
That I thought might be an amazing share here.
So Mick is making some tokens for people to track different effects during the game that are going to be in the goodie bags, and we've got different sponsors on different tokens, and so we've got the Always Strikes Last logo on one of the tokens, and I think we are +1 to save. So if you want +1 to save on your unit, it also strikes last.
Yeah.
Just...
Great way to foster confusion. I mean, maybe sort of a weakness in our branding. We can only ever be just one.
Yeah.
The future.
Andy, what is yours? Are you +1 to hit?
What am I? I'm Arcane Bolt, so I'm safe.
Okay.
Get a mediocre bolt across the board.
There we
Hey,
go.
it does
There you
work.
go.
It does work.
That
That's
is
when it
good
does
though.
one mortal wound, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
cannot
always a
tell
one.
you the number of times that I've cast Arcane Bolt only to forget that I cast Arcane Bolt.
Yeah, you literally get the mediocre
I know.
right after that.
That's all you need.
That'll be
That's all you
very funny now if someone kills like Archeon or Nagash now with the last mortal wound with a
Nice.
mediocre, and you can just shout that.
That'd be wonderful.
What did you call that? A god piece, was it? Oh, if you say so. Okay.
As a sort of funny aside in the Arcane Bolt forgetting, because that does happen all the time, I do wonder what the wizard is going through, because he casts this just waiting for the right moment. It's like, oh, why do I feel so constipated? Oh, that's right, I forgot to unleash all this energy. Ah, drat. Phase beginning this fast.
God. Yeah.
I feel that the way I remember it best is to mix up the two spells that are the easiest to cast. Well, outside
There we
of
go.
Flaming Weapon, but you go Mystic Bolt and Arcane Shield, and then you're good to go because then you remember how bad you forgot the names.
Andy, you've seen these
That's my
tokens.
trick.
Has he put the casting value on them tokens? No,
No.
because that would be actually really useful.
That's true. That's always the one you have to double check. Is it a 5?
Is it a 5 or is it a 6? I think it's a 5. No, it's a 6. It's always been a 6. No, it's always been a 5.
I think those tokens are great though, guys. What a good include in those bags, because more of that, please. More legible tokens in general. And not just because we're on them, but spread around the world.
It helps that we're on them though. That's nice.
Yeah. Real collectible.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm trying to instill in the team, is to always track your stuff and always make it helpful for you and for your opponent. So tracking how many spells you have, what buffs you've got on, what debuffs you've got on a unit, because there's a lot of stuff to be remembering in the game.
Mhm.
And then
No, exactly. I need to make some
so.
tokens for myself before we get going here.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was
Always-
actually thinking that while you were talking about the scenery with being always set, and I was like, and then you talked about putting them on bases, and I was like, funny, like laser cut the base out and then put the rules for the piece of scenery directly onto the scenery, so you never forget it. You're like, oh, you're in that scenery. Oh yeah, that does that. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. And it's kind of cool to have a constant reminder on the table.
Yeah. I think the choices you guys made of those are good too, because at least they're intuitive, right? Like, oh, it's a swamp. This might be a dangerous place. It's not like, oh, this is an especially arcane swamp or a dangerous piece of tree.
That one tree, it's gonna get you.
Watch out for that guy. Yeah.
Has a
Never trust
reputation.
one tree.
No, I can't get over that set terrain. Like just thinking about how easy that would be at a tournament to just show up, not worry about any of that, not worry if anybody has dice, not having to make that conversation of, are we using the arcane dice on this? What's your level of play? Are you feeling this out or no?
Well, I'm sure we can make, or we probably have made the maps available.
I think what we'll do is when you launch this podcast, we're going to bombard our Twitter feed with, here's the announcement of the podcast, here's the announcement of Andy's Mediocre Hobby streaming the event, here's the map for the event, here's the rules pack for the event.
There we go.
Just get everything out to everyone all at once so that they can get up to speed. Obviously, the rules pack's not really of interest to people, but just to know what scenarios are in play, because we had to drop 2 because 2 of them were seen as not really good for the game, and also paying for scenery and setup. Long ways games are always bad, when you play lengthways on the table. So it's good to have that one out.
Is there no lengthways games?
There's some secret lengthways games. There's
diagonal games, but they turn into lengthways games, but they're not technically.
At least give you the option.
It was genuinely a concern for me. I was like, if I set up a crossbar and it goes up over the top, then they can't really stand at the end of the table. So what if they're playing lengthways? Oh no, what do I do?
No, exactly.
Work around
guys. Not to worry about
that. We're not playing ice fields, and we're not playing wizard towers. I think we're the 2 that we dropped, and that way it's nice because you play every mission twice, and it nicely.
It rotates around, yeah.
Yeah,
It's very symmetrical. It's the maths nerd in me really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I tried to put a lot of effort into the pack, in fairness. I worked on that for about a month. It was a good while ago, but
Yeah.
like just cut and paste in words. But like one of the things that was a nightmare to find out, I had to go and look up some old chess website, was how to decide who plays who each round to make sure that everyone plays everybody once.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, that
sure.
sounds like a
It's
nightmare.
actually harder than you think. When you say, okay, they play round one, and then they can play them round two on this row, and then they can play this guy in round three on this row. But then in round four, have they already played in that row? Because I want to play everybody being on this, not on the same row more than twice, and also not, it's actually painful. But I found a website that sorted it out for me.
Nice.
Because I was trying to do it manually, and I was like, no, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Hey, math is hard.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, the scenery is actually, I think, was really exciting. It's a very ambitious scenery plan that Ken's put together, but every row is going to have one table in every realm.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Beautiful.
every row's got a realm of metal table, every row's got a realm of shadow table, every row's got a realm of fire table. I think the Azir ones are funky, but
there's 7 realms that are fully open, so the 7 tables in each row will all be the same, and then we'll have one realm of heavens where everything's themed on the realm of heavens. Then we have one realm that's going to be themed on the all points, so that's the Varanspire scenery setup, and then one realm will be in the realm of chaos, and that will be a chaotic table. But it's just that there's only going to be one of each of those because they're kind of off on their own. But all the others will be shadow, fire, death, metal, etc. And so I want it so that when you get to the table, it's very obvious that that's the realm you're in. So when you're in the realm of death, everything, the rocks are purpley, and there's cemeteries and old death scenery pieces. And then when you're in the realm of light, everything's bright and shiny and brand new. And if you're in shadow, it's going to be cold and frosty and snow and so on. So that's the theory.
But for the record, we're not changing the realm we're in terms of like your Gurish battle mage still gets his +1 to cast, because that's what the right.
Yeah, we're still in Gur.
Okay.
The madman in me wants to like go full steam on themed tables. Like if you're in if you're in Azir, then Azir's Stormcast, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So like one piece of the terrain on there has to have like a small electric current attached to it, so you get a little zap when you touch it.
Oh, nice.
Gotta have an air conditioner next to your like super cold tables, and put a
true
giant
metagame experience.
Giant curtain around Ulgu. Ulgu is darkness, right? Yeah.
A smoke machine, right? Is what you want there.
Yeah, there you go.
Just I don't really go to event.
I don't think I would either, but it would be a great little Halloween House of Horrors event.
Yeah.
What would the Shayish table be? Like smell like rotting meat because of something you leave nearby? Like
I love this all senses experience. It's the 4D
I'd need like a twisty mustache, and like some full like suspenders to really sell it. It'd be like the hipster experience of Warhammer, I think.
You could do it, may the odds be forever in your favor, Everyone tormented in bits by the end of it.
And if you're streaming on a Shadow Realm table, you can get a vape pen or something and go up and
oh yeah, totally.
Endless possibilities. Not all
lights allowed at this table, fun. Only black lights.
So with that in mind, with the ambitious scenery project, how's it going?
I've been painting scenery for a month now.
Ken has been crushing it on the scenery. Absolutely. I'm picking up some scenery from some of the lads who have been 3D printing it on Sunday, so that's exciting. Finally get that in my hands.
Nice.
So literally just before this call, I was downstairs and I'm building the swamps right now. So Nathan and Mick have been cutting 3D MDF sheets that I ordered online, and I've basically be getting clay and making a rim around the edge of each base that I can then fill it with clear
Yeah.
resin.
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
different types
Nice
of
little epoxy. You know, it's good.
And I'm sitting there with this, that DAS modeling clay. You probably
Yeah.
don't know what's going
Yeah.
on.
Mhm.
I'm sitting there doing this, and my girlfriend comes up behind me, and then she starts singing Unchained Melody.
Oh, nice. You do doing the Patrick Swayze. I love it.
Yeah.
I think one of the good things for that DAS clay is to mix in some PVA glue with it when you're mixing it. It hardens and it stops it cracking so much, keeps it a bit more like moist in the drying process. So
There we
Yeah,
go.
well, I got a guy online actually, the old terrain guy. I don't know if you've ever seen an English guy. He's done a lot of terrain videos. It's about 5 years ago now, actually. But his tip was that when you have the MDF sheet, if you just put the clay on it, it'll dry and it'll just lift off.
Yeah.
But if you wet the MDF sheet and then push
Yeah.
it down, it'll merge with the MDF and won't come off. So
Yeah, yeah.
I
Oh, that's a
luckily
smart
spotted
tip.
that just before I started.
Yeah, that or score it because like the actual sheets of MDF are quite smooth, so that's why there's nothing to grip onto.
It's definitely a fun hobby realm, right? Like both in scenery and even in basing, we're like, oh, how do these materials interface? And if you don't research, you just find out later. Sometimes results can be a little tragic. I
Yeah.
had the entire rock base of a cool winter scene on like a stone horn lift off because I'd use Elmer's glue like to become the sheet, and it had dried as a sheet with everything on top of it. And so it cleanly separated from the base itself.
No, they
I'm
use
like-
the PVA glue and Warhammer all the time. The
Yep.
little square bases, just the whole sheet of it just comes off. Okay. Damn it.
Yeah, on the other hand, super glue, the gel super glue, and MDF, I have glued my hand to a base and painfully ripped that off so many times. I don't know why it's such a good combination.
Oh,
but
yeah, because they're both fuzzy.
Is that what it is? Super glue,
Yeah.
MDF, and like, man, that will
Yeah.
hold forever.
Well, Matt, it makes you a part of the hobby, quite literally. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, part of the hobby comes off. So,
Yeah. Blood, sweat,
We've all,
tears, and fingertips.
we've all bled for the blood god, right?
Oh,
There
oh,
is.
yeah.
Indeed. Although I gotta say, much less with the transition away from metal models. That was the day.
Yep. Yeah, it was.
Getting the old
Great.
Dremel out and trying to take an arm off a miniature or whatever.
Mm.
Well, I don't mean to cut off our stroll down memory lane, but this has been a good place. I think we've wrapped up a lot of good info here and excitement for Six Nations coming in hot. We're gonna have at the time this podcast drops, keep an eye out for the AOS Six Nations Twitter or X account, the Team Ireland AOS Twitter, Mediocre Hobbies. Obviously, if you're listening to us, Always Strikes Last, you know where that is, so that's good. Anything else anybody wants to chime in here as we wrap up? Did I miss anything?
No.
Well, guys, this has been a real pleasure. Thanks for coming on and talking
Yeah.
about this with us.
Yeah, very
It's
much
going to be really
Having
cool.
us. And yeah,
Pleasure.
you guys are going to get involved in some way, shape, or form, whether by being there or by logging into the stream and checking it out and making glorious donations, of course, as usual. That's what you do. with a Twitch
Exactly.
stream.
If you end up, if you're watching Andy's,
What?
Do we
I
get
was say if you're
watching?
watching Andy's stream, hashtag ASL.
Yeah.
Just spam the chat with that. That's how you.
Probably the right move. Yeah. To make sure people know.
Yeah, we'll have to go on a raid. Let's go on a full raid. Everyone.
Now we're talking.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Andy, and thanks, Ken, for coming on the show. This has been a pleasure. Well, I'll talk to you both soon. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you guys so much for having us on. And yeah, look forward to the event. I'll see you guys again.
Sounds good.
See you guys soon. And that's a wrap.
Nice.
Nailed it.
Yeah. We have a long running attempt to get the last word in, which Matt always wins because he has his finger in the mic. He's probably waiting for it right now. Are we done?
Who, me?
soon?